Hello again, this is Bill St. George. Welcome to another impression show with Bob and myself here at my gallery on Boylston Street. And what I thought we could, I guess, will do, hopefully, is, Bob and I in the fall went out on the bandstand. I don't know if you guys that are regular viewers saw the painting that I had started. And what I'd like to do today is use some photo reference and just finish it up. I come to as close to finish as I can, at least get it all sparked and bright. Problem I kept having on the bandstand was the uneven light. When I went back to paint, it was just overcast and kind of have to, go according to the weather. And that can be a little tough sometimes, especially when you get something that has bright light. And obviously, if you go and it's like a day today was gray and overcast, and that becomes a whole different problem. You start painting a different painting, in other words. So anyway, I thought before I get started with this, maybe I'd like to show you a couple of paintings that I did back in the day over on Plimpton Street when a bunch of us used to go over there and paint. It's probably a different style. There's probably a lot more putty color involved, but you want me to leave these on, Bob? Can you? Okay. This is, I'm going to leave it alone or you'll get the shake. So turn it around. You okay? Okay. Thank you. But anyway, this, a lot of energy, a lot of paint, and the palette is different. At the time, I think I used a lot more yellow ochre, and I mixed yellow ochre with not all the colors, but a lot of them. And it gave this, as one of my clients mentioned, a putty look. They call these my putty paintings of that particular era. Anyway, this is the house. This house was called the Gingerbread House. I forgot who lived there. I want to say not Canale, or related to Sonny Canale for you Walpole residents. I think. I don't know if they're still living there. And this house was, I think, they either called this the schoolhouse or the one across the street. But this was a little house on the, if you're coming up from Plimptonville and you're going up through towards the Lewis statue, this is right on the right, up at the crest of the hill. Scott Golding, I believe, and his family lived more across from there, and then there's another house. Probably the house that's across from there. Anyway, yada, yada. I don't want to keep going on here. This is an older painting, also more of an impressionist, where I just went on with the paint. This was also in that era. This is the dam, on the right-hand side of the dam in the town forest. This was spring. We get a lot of the pinks, and that's the famous waterfall. And I guess this is where it comes through, and there's a drain going down here, and that's the Neponset River. And this, excuse me, is the Plimpton Street. That's the Trestle Bridge. Go down here now. I don't think you'll see this much water, but on the other side there was always these loosestrife that bloomed, and quite beautiful. But this is this little stone wall here. You see a lot of people park the car up here and then they fish off this point. But you can see the texture on this is quite substantial. I mean, there's a ton of paint. And these were done on masonite board. Excuse me. It's hard. And they were done back in around 1991. So it's quite a ways, quite a few years. This painting is that house also. That, the gingerbread is over here, but it's a little different angle. I like this angle. And in fact, I sold the painting. I'm waiting for the customer to pay me off in a payment plan over a 3 or 4 month period. So, you never know. A friend of mine, John Terrelac, who you may not have heard of, he's an impressionist painter out of Rockport, a really great painter. And I asked him about that at one time. I said, how about these older paintings? Should they be devalued or should we sell them for less? Because he said his theory on the older paintings was they're like wine, vintage wine, that they improve with age, and why should they be devalued? Because at that particular period in your time, they were finished and they had a value. And the value should be equal to anything that you do today. So I kept him in his word. Of course, I got a ton of paintings that still haven't been sold, but that's another story. And then this, a little brighter, this is a winter's day over, and maybe the colors are a little, probably too much purple, I think, when I look at it. But this is the curve around Diamond Street. This is Old Diamond. I live on Diamond. And there's some condos next to a pond. And I forgot the name of the pond, but I used to take my kids fishing down there. If you go around here, and it's another set of, what is that, the Old Diamond something, retirement home or something? Yeah, there are a group of them. So anyway, they just kind of take you down whatever, memory lane, as it were. But it's nothing like a painting that you do and you hate it. I didn't hate this, but you kind of evolve, and then somebody really likes it, and you say, well, maybe it wasn't that bad after all, you know? Because we're constantly finding fault with paintings, you know, most artists anyway. Say, well, maybe it isn't that good, and well, maybe it isn't, but to somebody, it is. So you look at it with a different eye. Anyway, we're going to do Walpole Center, the great little center. This is definitely the thing that pulls the center together, the building, and the old Swenson's building, which is now the Walpole Bank. And anyway, we'll go from here. We'll get started to the strains of Men at Work. We're in an 80s kind of mood today. And Bob and I were talking about some of those 80s groups. They were great in 80s music. It was a high point. Now I don't know what. I don't know who's who, what's what. There's so many of them, and a lot of this, you know, I like some of the hip-hop. I like some of the rap when it's mixed the right way, but a lot of this rap is like listening to somebody had just written, some little kid wrote a thing like roses are red, violets are blue. I mean, it's so simplistic to the point of ridiculous. Or it's the other way, ultra-violent. That's enough commentary for one day. All right. Yeah, I've got this photo I'm using, which is a little more contrasty. And how's that? Okay, that it? Okay. I want to make sure. Whoops. I'm going to do jump roping with this thing pretty soon. I'm going to pull it around to the back. Here we go. All right. Again, just get into some... I think one of the important things I want to do is get this shadow area in here, and that'll help me bang up the contrast. When I went back, there was no shadow, so I shot it later in the day, and it gave me some great light. So let's see. I'm gonna lay that in. We'll just get that in as quickly as possible. Already it gives me some contrast there, without being a be-all and end-all type of situation. I want to make this as kind of an important part of the design. Give it a little mystique. I'm using some indigo and earth orange, transparent earth orange, which I find works great. It just doesn't, that's the walk that comes out. I'm going to leave that alone for now. And then there's a couple of, this will indicate a late afternoon, a couple of traffic light reflections here. Shadows. Okay. I'll add a little ultramarine blue to this. for this area here. As it's going away, I just want to make it look give it a little cooler shadow, give it the illusion of depth. Now I'm going to go into this. Where the shadow is cast this way, this is going to obviously change. So anyway, I'm going to tone it down with something. And that may be toning it down too much, but again, you can go back into this. And then I'll run a shadow right across there. Hopefully. Just enough of it to show. Okay. Abstract enough. Now, what's going to happen is all this is going to change now. I basically have everything in place, but I think what I'm going to do now is brighten up the whites, make them a little more contrasty, and the trees. So I think that's what I'll do now. I'll go into the trees. We'll see what happens here. Again. Yeah. Might be a little too much here, I don't know. Who knows? Okay, I don't want to get too involved in minutiae here, but I do want to keep the local color, the color of the tree, in the painting. So, and then use that dark against that red. So I don't want to get too involved, as I say, in finishing it right now, finishing any of these trees. Keep it very painterly and whatever. I went to the MFA yesterday. I took my granddaughters there, and they have some great things that go on during vacation week. So, if you're looking for a place to take your kids, it's a great venue. They had a table set up for sculpturing. You know, these they give you pipe cleaners and all kinds of stuff, and then they had another one where you got clay and you could make a clay model, you know, an ashtray or whatever they do. One of my granddaughters did a horse, you know, the head of a horse, and then the other place they just used pie plates and made some masks. So and it's an all-day thing, you know. Get in on your membership or whatever. If you don't have one, I'm sure it's not that much dough, but well worth it. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, you can see this starting. Now the whole light thing is starting to change. And you need that punch. You know, that boom, dark, light, bright. This is going to come up a lot brighter. A little more dramatic, a little more interesting, you know. Make it a painting rather than an exercise in futility. I think I probably have enough. Well, I'll get a couple of dark places up in here. Yeah. Don't involve yourself in minutiae, you know, the little things.